Good morning, all of you. Myself, Dr. Sherry Verma. I am Associate Professor in School of Engineering and Technology, Sushant University. Today, I'll be taking you through an overview of the subject Database Management System. It's one of the core subjects of the undergrad course. So let's take a brief overview of what all we'll be covering in today's video. I'll be taking you through the introduction, the course objective, the course outcomes, the books that you can refer to go through this subject, and the evaluation scheme that we follow. So first of all, let me give you a brief of what database management system is. So before I tell you the complete concept of what this term means, I would like to break it into parts. So let's start with what's data. As we all know, data are the raw facts which we can record, like your phone numbers, like the name of employees, name of students, etc. Database means a collection of interrelated data. So database can be of varying complexity, it can be of varying size. Database can be maintained manually or it can be maintained in a computerized way. So if I go back to my college days or my school days, I remember that the database in my library was not computerized. It was a manual database that the librarian used to maintain. We used to get that yellow card and then we used to give the card. Therein he used to write the number of books we have issued, and then he used to maintain a register for whatever books he has issued to a particular student. So this way of maintaining data is called as a manual database, maintaining a manual database. So now let's come to computerized form of database. Now, database management system, the topic or the subject itself which we are discussing. So DBMS or database management system is a general purpose software that facilitates the process of creating the database, populating the database, manipulating the database, and maintaining the database. So this DBMS, this software package ensures that you are maintaining your database in a computerized form. We call it as a general purpose software. Why? Because this software is applicable on varied kind of application. You take it a university use case, take it a healthcare use case, or e-commerce use case, or any organization, any company use case. You name it and database can be used anywhere. So that is why we call it as a general purpose software system. So we discussed about data, we discussed about database, that's a collection of data, and we now are talking about DBMS. So DBMS is nothing, it's a software. It's a collection of small software modules which let you create this database, which lets you maintain and populate this database with data. So now let me bifurcate the meaning of designing the database. In designing, we means that we are constructing the database from scratch. We are defining what is going to be the structure of the database, what are the data types that the data is going to have, what are constraints that will be there in your database, and what is the relationship that is going to be there amongst the data. So that is what comes under designing the database. Then comes populating the database. Once we have created the structure of the database, now we have to populate it with the data. We have to store actual data into it. Let's say that in our relational database management system, we store data in the form of tables. So first of all, while designing the database, I need to define the structure of the table. How many columns this table is going to have, what is the data type, and the maximum size of every column is supposed to be, and are there any constraints that are going to be there on every column? Let's say for a student table, and on the roll number column, we have a constraint that no two rows can have the same roll number, because no two students in the university can have the same roll number. So these are all the concepts that comes under designing the database. Now once you have created the structure, now you actually need to put data inside it. Now let's say we have inserted the data of a student called Ravi. So this is the actual data. This is what we mean by populating the data in that structure. Then comes manipulating. Manipulating means you are changing the already existing data. So manipulation can be done either by inserting a new data into it, or deleting the already existing data, or updating the already existing data. Then comes maintaining the database. So the process of this DBMS is also to maintain the database in terms of It ensures that the database is functioning properly and is optimized. It ensures that with changing time and with changing requirement, the data integrity is maintained. When I talk about data integrity means your data is accurate, your data is complete, and your data is consistent throughout the database. So all these jobs are being taken care by the DBMS, which is database management system, which is a software package. So I hope by now you are aware of what this subject is all about. So this subject you will be studying is regarding a software package which lets you create database from the scratch, populate it, manipulate it, and maintain it for varied number of applications. Next, I would be taking you through the objective of this course. So when we talk about objective of any course, a course objective is something which a student is expected to learn during the course, which a course is expected to deliver to the students. So the objective of this course is that a student will have an understanding of what is actually a database management system, how the data is being stored into it, and what were the previous way through which data was being stored. The previous ways were traditional file processing systems, which were flat files, which had a number of disadvantages, which actually led to the creation of DBMS. So student will be able to design the database in conceptually, logically, and physically, and he'll be able, in the end of the course, he'll be able to implement the database using structure query language. Apart from it, the objective of the course is to familiarize the student with the transaction processing concept of the database. Now, once you have created the database, a number of transactions are going to be executed on it. Let's talk about a university database. So there's a university database. The students are interacting with the database every now and then to get the result out, to get the details of the faculty that who is going to teach them. The faculty is continuously accessing the database to get the list of the students of a particular course. The accounts department is accessing the data. The parents are trying to access the data, so and so forth. So all these transactions are being given to the database simultaneously at one time. So at one particular time, a particular database of an organization is handling a number of transactions. So by transaction, I mean the read and write operations a particular process is performing. So how does the database handles all these transactions at one time, and thereby ensuring that the database doesn't go into an inconsistent or incorrect state. So all these concepts will be taught in this course to the learner. Then let's talk about the course outcomes. So course outcomes are the learning that a student is expected to achieve or demonstrate after the completion of the course. So once this course is completed, the learners will be able to design and visualize the version of the database so that it is easier for the stakeholders to comprehend and understand. So they'll be able to do this using the ER model, and then they'll be able to implement this ER model into relational model with the help of structure query language, which is a programming language through which the learners will be able to create the database or interact with the database and submit their queries to it. They'll be, after creating the database, they'll be able to refine it. So refinement is done using the process of normalization. So student will be able to refine their database so that it doesn't have any kind of anomalies in it. And last but not the least, student will be able to understand that how the database handles all the transactions simultaneously, and if there is a failure, whether it's a hardware failure or a software failure in the system, how the database recovers from that failure. What is the backup process in this database, and how concurrent transactions are being checked so that it doesn't take your database into an inconsistent state. So these are all the outcomes that a learner is supposed to achieve after the completion of this course. Now these are the few books, as you can see on your screen. There are the textbooks and the reference books. Silver Sash, Henry F. Forth is one of the best books that you should go through while learning this subject. Another wonderful author is Nawathe, Elmsari Nawathe, who has given a very, very detailed, very minute things he has taken up very nicely in the book, so that even a beginner can understand it very easily. And rest are the reference books which you can refer it for the extra questions you want to do. So these are the list of the books. And last, we'll talk about the evaluation scheme. So how do we evaluate the learners? So one way is the formative assessment. We call it as an internal assessment or mid-semester evaluation, which is of 40 marks. So it is being divided into two categories, theory part and the lab part. The theory part comprises of 30 marks and the lab part comprises of the 10 marks. In out of 30, 15 marks are being given to mid-semester examination, which happens in the middle of the semester, usually when 50% of the course is being covered. And apart from this, regular quizzes, presentation, peer discussion, class discussion, assignments are going to happen, which accounts for 15 marks. So that makes 30 marks, and the lab marks are for 10, where mid-semester lab evaluation counts for 5 marks, and the maintenance of lab files and the lab performance, that accounts for another 5 marks, so that makes up 10 marks. So 30 plus 10 makes 40. This is a formative assessment. It keeps on going throughout the semester to check the learning of the learner, and continuous feedback is being given to the learner so that they can reflect on their learning and then improve in their learning process. Last is the end semester evaluation, which accounts for 60 marks, in which theory marks are of 40 marks and lab are for 20 marks. So they'll be having a final examination if we are talking about this semester. So they'll be in the even semester, they usually have their end semester examination in May, and in the odd semester they usually have their end semester examination in December. So this end semester evaluation checks their entire learning of the entire semester. So the theory paper accounts for 40 marks and the lab evaluation will be 20 marks. That makes up 60. So 40 midterm evaluation and 60 end term evaluation, the both combination makes 100 marks of evaluation for the learners. So I hope you are clear with what this subject is all about, what are the course objective, course outcome, what books you can refer to, and what is the course, this evaluation scheme of this particular course. So with this, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.